Good afternoon and welcome to the Think Local First radio show. I'm your host, Matthew Swinnerton. Each and every week, we talk with local entrepreneurs, local business owners in town. We talk about how they started their business, the challenges of opening their business, the challenges of keeping it open, and at the end of the day, what drives and motivates them to keep on doing what they do. This is episode number 8. That's like 2 months. We're on a roll here. So this week we have 2 amazing guests. Now, if you've heard the show for our last 2 months, you might say 2. Usually have 3 each time. Well, we made room. This week it's a first for Think Local First radio show. We have our first guest co-host, Ashley Cramer from the Barre studio. How are you doing today, Ashley?
I'm good, Matthew. I'm excited to be back. It was such a short time ago that I was sitting in the other seat. Now I get to ask the questions. It's going to be fun.
Well, everybody was telling me, oh man, that lady Ashley was awesome. She was so good. So I was saying, like, how could I incorporate her back on the show? And then I thought, so it was 2 weeks ago that you were on, and that was the first day that you opened the Barre studio, right?
Yep, that's correct.
So 2 weeks into it. Now, for entrepreneurs, if you're an entrepreneur and you're listening, you can empathize or understand the excitement of opening up a business. And, I wanted to check in with her because I bet you want to know too, like, how has it been for the last, well, actually, you know what? Let me go back. So if you weren't listening to 2 weeks ago when we had Ashley on, first, shame on you. But second, and there's a podcast, don't worry, you can go back. What is the Barre studio? So we all know what that is.
Yeah, so the Barre studio is a bar workout studio. Bar workouts are a body resistance workout, total body, that involves a ballet bar for basically stability and resistance, and we incorporate dance-inspired movements with performance training, so planks and push-ups, those kind of things, and elements you would recognize from yoga and Pilates. So very fun and challenging workout. And so far, the people of Santa Cruz area have really responded well.
So how has it been? I mean, how's it been? So there was 6 months of build-up from when you put the lease onto the building to when you were like the night of painting and doing whatever to 2 a.m. How has it been the last 2 weeks?
It's been phenomenal. And actually, I'll back up. It's even more than 6 months. It was a year. So My birthday was just this week. Happy birthday to me. But it was last year on my birthday that the whole idea of the Barre studio was conceived, and I said, I'm really going to do this. But now that doors opened and have been open for 2 weeks, it's been phenomenal. I was wondering, are we going to have crickets? Am I going to have empty classes? I'd actually put a plan in place with my employees that if no one showed up for class, what they would get paid and what the process would be on how long they had to wait before they could go home. And we haven't had to cancel one class. In fact, we've had classes 15 people, 18 people. We had 16 people on Tuesday morning at 6 a.m. there to sweat at the Barre studio. And it's been phenomenal to see that. And the outpouring of support from my clients when they heard that it was my birthday. People brought me bottles of champagne and flowers. And I think that to me was such an important moment because besides that it was a year and the doors are open now, it really shows that I've connected with people and that community that I was looking to build in such a short time, it's already happening. And really that's what it's all about.
Awesome. So if you want to hear more about how she opened, all the steps that she, I guess, partook in to open her studio, go back. I guess you can go to Event Santa Cruz on YouTube, type in Event Santa Cruz, and I think it's like the 4th video into it. You can see the video of Ashley talking and the rest of our crew talking about how she opened. So thank you very much for being our host today.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Also on the website.
Yeah, it is also on the Think Local First website?
Yep.
Okay, so if you go to what is our website?
ThinkLocalFirstRadio.com.
ThinkLocalFirstRadio.com. That is our website. You can also see the video there. So let's go back to what the show's about. It's our guest, our entrepreneurs, our fearless entrepreneurs. We have maybe a couple of you might know this guy, Romney Dunbar. Thank you for coming, Romney.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So, Romney, is this your first time on the radio?
It is not my first time on the radio, but it's the first time, really, again, as Ashley says, on this side of the table. So it's great to be able to take part in this and talk about, my story, which changed when I went from being a broadcaster and being on over on your microphone, Matthew, to being on this one. And I share many of the same stories and challenges, I'm sure, as everyone else, just coming from a different place.
I know, this is intimidating. I'm like, this is like our first celebrity.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh man, is he going to be critiquing our questions?
I already have, and I was sitting there saying, They have a great voice. Both of them. They're very good at this. And so I'm already a little bit, I'm the one with the sweaty palms here.
We will pay you later. And then our next guest, we have Naomi Woldemar. Is that how you pronounce your name?
Yep.
I did it right.
Yeah.
From Cardamom Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like I've been seeing you everywhere recently. You were serving at Eat Local First.
Yep.
You were a speaker, one of our main speakers at event Santa Cruz. You are on the show today, and you're also going to be sampling what you do. And I don't want to give it away too much, but when is it? It's event Santa Cruz, November 17th. November 17th at Assembly.
Yeah.
So
Looking forward to that.
I'm definitely going to get my share of Naomi. So I think you're such an interesting person, and I'm really going to give a lot of the reins to the questions to Ashley. But I have a bunch of questions that I want to throw in there for you. So
Great.
we will talk to you soon. So if you have a question for our guest, you can call 831-479-1080. That's 479-1080. Or you can email me, Matthew@eventsantacruz.com. That's a Matthew@eventsantacruz.com. And we will get your comments or questions. So let's get right into it. The first segment, the How I Started segment.
Mm-hmm.
So Romney, you're first.
All right.
Did I read correctly that you got into the radio and broadcasting when you were like 15 years old?
15 years old. This really does take me back. This room, it was smaller than this, half the size maybe. But I grew up in a small town, West Yellowstone, Montana, very cold place, and it's 20, 30 below cold. So in the wintertime, a lot of fellows that stayed out late Saturday night wouldn't make themselves available for a very early Sunday morning call to turn on the transmitters back in those days and warm things up.
Okay.
There might have been some levity in the village. So they said, hey, my sister told the folks at the radio station, my brother loves tape recorders and he watches too much TV and the news and all this stuff. He'd love to do this. They're thinking, yeah, a kid with a good mom like my mother, he'll get up and come and do this. So I started just turning on the radio station and playing some tapes and doing things, and it led to after school, it led to summer, it led to a career. So really I got my first paycheck at 15 years old.
Wow.
Such as it was, for a couple of hours a week.
I was just doing a paper route then.
Exactly. But the bug bit me, and it was fantastic. And of course, it led to cameras coming in. I'm old enough that it led from film to video when I was in college, and then the internet. So that's sort of my trajectory as well.
So how did you come from that point to being a TV anchor?
I liked the radio so much that I actually worked part-time downtown, if you will, as an announcer in college while I earned a journalism degree. But of course, after a couple of years of journalism, you call it real journalism, newspaper, covering meetings, that sort of thing, it led to finishing it with a radio TV major.
Okay.
So I was one of those, television was king. I came out of the post-Watergate. I graduated in '76, if you will. Are you still with me? Everyone's still with me?
Yeah.
There goes the demo. But I came from that, journalism was king, if you will. I mean, it was a very heady time. So television was the place to go to communicate. We covered election nights. Everybody flocked to, I miss these days, if they flocked to the courthouse basement. People that were running against each other would be together that evening. It was a special time. So I really enjoyed that, and I had a long career of doing that. So I got a job in Montana. A year later, put my suit in the back seat, pulled into the McDonald's, put on the suit, talked to every little radio station in Eugene, Eureka, Santa Rosa, and bingo, I got Monterey.
Okay.
And I moved down here, and I guess the rest is history from that point.
Nice. So I want to know what is the life of a TV anchor? And like, what's like are you like up 24 hours a day? Is it a normal 9-to-5 job? What?
It isn't. It's you're never really like entrepreneurial activity. You're never off duty because you're always thinking and you're clipping and you're kind of hoarding newspapers and things that we used to do before the web. So you're always thinking about how can I make my job easier if I have some good ideas. We played beat the desk, if you will, beat the assignment desk. And you cover the town, and I loved Santa Cruz. It was so interesting, politically active, wacky, whatever, visual. Yeah. So it was a wonderful place, but it led to you finally get promoted to the anchor chair. You start as a cub reporter and you cover things. And then eventually they say, well, he likes it, and he's competing to do this, and we're not sick of him yet. So you get more time, but you also have to do 3 jobs. They say he's a good investment because he's going to oversee the crew. He's going to produce the show. He might do a little bit of reporting on the side. Yeah. So in this market, it was a very all-encompassing job. So even though you got to sit there at the end of the day with the suit on and my Ron Burgundy mustache.
I was going to ask about that, yeah.
Had the mustache going for a long time. That was great, but really the job was a lot of work. It was a lot of work, but if you were, I called it a backstage pass to life, or Santa Cruz County, however you want to look at it. It was terrific because my job was my entertainment. My entertainment was my job. So
when you think of what are some of the stories that really stand out in your mind? Like, wow, I can't believe I was able to cover that, or just like I just really enjoyed covering that story.
First election I covered in Santa Cruz was the first night the progressives took a majority. Right. I'd been here 2 weeks.
Wow.
I'd lived in the county maybe a month. Okay. Moved here in October. In November, that election went to trial. There was a lawsuit over the 8 votes from the UCSC that might have been out of domicile, whatever. Yeah. And on we go, right? And that was just welcome to town, kid. So that was one thing. And then, of course, I was here up until the earthquake.
And we just talked about that.
Yeah, sort of part of my career. Then there was the earthquake where I went from the gym to working for a month one night. Yeah. And it changed everything. So we're just thinking back now how long ago that was, but it's fresh in my mind. And then we watched really the changing of this industry that led to what spit me out to be here today was really the internet and the technological changes. So,
well, let's talk about that. Yeah. How was that transition? Like, walk me through that transition from being the anchor to actually going out to Dunbar Productions, being your own boss.
Well, not to bore anyone with the history of media as we're watching it happen. I mean, thank goodness, look where we are. We're at a privately owned, open, humans are involved radio station. Yeah. There aren't that many left.
No, not at all.
Santa Cruz County has a handful of them. Mm-hmm. God bless us. But things started to change. I had, as you said, a great job, a good salary for this area. It was interesting. I love living here. But pretty soon, the media changed. The revenue model changed. The networks, if you will, quit paying stations to carry, them. They started to charge them. So anyway, I ended up with a family, getting married. Clear Channel looked up stations, and I said, look, I'm gonna have to decide to stay here, and I'm gonna go with the internet. So I launched a.
Well, we'll be back in 2 minutes, and we're gonna follow up on that, and also talk about what's up next for Romney.
Wow, I'm standing outside the Staff of Life Natural Food Store watching shoppers buzz in and out like bees at their hive on a hot summer day. I'm wondering, what do all those shoppers find at Staff of Life they can't find at the big box store? Let's ask.
Tom, I've been shopping at Staff of Life since they first opened. It's always good prices, good selection. You always see people like you.
Hi, my name's Kalila. They're wonderful people, and I like to give my business to the people in my community. They have a good meat department. They have a great produce department. I mean, you can't find anything like this. It's for me that it's very satisfying to shop here.
Sharon, Santa Cruz. Staff of Life has the best food. I get fresh everything I need. They have a lot of things I can't find anywhere else.
Think local first and eat local first by shopping a genuine Santa Cruz tradition. The original, locally owned Staff of Life Natural Food Store at 1266 SoCal Avenue in Santa Cruz. If you can't find it at Staff of Life, maybe you don't want to find it.
If your online experience is like this, and you'd like it to be much more like this, then call Jabico on 454-0850. The team at Jabico has spent the last 13 years transforming web experiences that feel like this to this. So if dealing with the web can sometimes feel like this, the latter consisted simply of 6 hydrocoptic muzzles. Call us at 454-0850 or check us out online at jabico.com, jabico.com.
From apples to zebras? Well, you can buy anything online, except peace of mind and professional, caring advice. Hello, I'm Matthew King of King Insurance and Financial. Our family-owned agency is celebrating its 50th anniversary, providing Santa Cruz County businesses and residents with valuable advice. King Insurance is proud of being recognized as experts on the Affordable Care Act, better known as Obamacare, as well as on the insurance products you need to protect your business, home and auto, and on the life insurance and financial services you need to protect your family's future. Celebrating our 50th anniversary with you is an important milestone for us. Whether guiding a devastated client through the loss of a home fire or advising everyone through the confusing and unsettling new healthcare laws, we're always proud to be here for you. Yes, you can buy just about anything on the internet, but if you want peace of mind and professional, caring advice, call on King Insurance and Financial, a proud member of Think Local First, 688-1434, or visit us online at santacruzinsurance.com.
The first thing they look at is your shoes. Hi, I'm Ellen Gill.
And if they see you in shoes and socks from Sock Shop and Shoe Company, they'll likely look up to you. Hello, I'm Eric Gill.
Sock Shop and Shoe Company has proudly outfitted Santa Cruz County in the best footwear for more than 25 years.
And with your support, we've turned our little Sock Shop and Shoe Company into a one-of-a-kind shoe store that attracts shoppers worldwide.
As the quintessentially locally owned Santa Cruz store, Sock Shop and Shoe Company proudly supports the efforts of Think Local First to promote the locally owned and independent businesses that make our community a special place to live and work.
And we hope you keep in mind all the local entrepreneurs who provide us with such wonderful variety of places to eat, work, and live, and who build a strong local economy for all of us. When you head out to shop, please remember to
Think local first. People will look up to you.
Welcome back to the Think Local First radio show. I am your host, Matthew Swinnerton, and I am co-hosted today, or the show is co-hosted today, with Ashley Cramer from the Barre studio. So we are with Naomi and Romney, and we're actually finishing up with Romney right now. So we talked about your days as an anchor. Let's start getting into now the transition to Dunbar Productions.
Right. So I said, well, I've got this... After all this time as an anchor, company bought the channel, and I didn't have a contract. Really, okay. I was at will, and I said, "Well, I have this idea." So I got a friend of mine, who was a realtor, to show her boss what I think I could do with the new cost of computer animated and computer generated media. Final Cut 1.0 was born. It was a brand new thing, and I said, I think that's going to be a revolutionary device, and I'm going to prove it. So I launched a show. I got this company in town to say, I think it's phenomenal. You can do that. So I said, wow, I guess I'm in business. So I had enough money in that project to do a TV show that we made in my house, our third bedroom, the classic entrepreneurial tech story. Yep. We made the stuff there. We filed it. I brokered the TV time. I learned about that part of the business. I'd never been in business before, ever. And we did that, and of course the real estate market was booming, so I did another one. I got a Carmel company to buy in. I had an open source one. My Travels with Romney news feature I turned into the same operation. So, in a sense, what we do is we tell business stories. Instead of being the reporter covering the area, we're hired to tell your business story. We package that, and at this time streaming, it was before YouTube that I started, several years, but we figured out how to stream video here in town, even though it took a few days at first to do that. But I knew that was it. Once I could email a client a video to approve and not drive to Carmel and talk to them, I said, that's it. So we caught that wave, and we caught it at a good time. We also caught the real estate boom, and of course we shrank with the bust a few years later, if you will call it a bust. But I did for a few months. But it really got us doing this and expanding, and we had enough workload to experiment. And then pretty soon we were doing tourism-related things, wineries and the like, which we do a lot of today, even some corporate stuff. So we really were just 40 miles away from Silicon Valley, or we might have been pioneers. Yeah. But it was a very exciting time, real heady time.
So this is a softball question, but so what is an ideal customer for you?
Oh, I think a customer
or client.
Ideal would be a quick sell. And what I mean by that is they know what they want to do. Yeah. And they say, with your help, I could be a little better. I could make my own video, but I want you to drill down on what we do the way you do and make it kind of friendly and package that for us, catch our magic in a bottle kind of a thing on video, and do that. And I have this idea, but it needs something more. What is that? And I can say, well, after several thousand of these, it might be this. So that's those are the conversations we try to have. The other thing is they say, well, what else can I do with this video? I know I have a website. And then I say, well, we have some other things to do. So that's a good client.
All right. Well, Romney, I'm excited to hear a little more about that as we get further into the show. But Naomi, turning to you for a minute. So you're the owner of Cardamom Tuesday.
Yep.
What is it?
Cardamom Tuesday is elixir, and they're cocktail mixers, basically. They're all natural cocktail mixers. I make them here in Santa Cruz. They're also used in sparklers and hot milk steamers and chai, and you can do a lot of creative things with them. But it started out as a craft cocktail mixer.
Well, I like a good cocktail. So tell me how you decided to get into that, though. Is this personal exploration?
Yeah, kind of. It was a long journey, but it started, I guess, in the middle of, after a lot of years of traveling and coming back here and not finding, there was the farm to table movement was going on. Food was amazing, and you could eat a really fresh, beautiful meal and then finish it with a cocktail full of corn syrup and artificial flavors and colors, and I felt like I was having a Twinkie in a glass. And so I went home and started mixing and creating with the flavors that I like from the places that I've been, and realized that those flavors aren't really available here. And so people like them, asked me to make them, and before I knew it, they were starting to sell.
So tell me a bit about those flavors. You said things that aren't here, or things that you like from travel. So how did you come up with the ideas or these recipes?
Well, the flavors, so all of my elixirs are cardamom based. So the company's Cardamom Tuesday, and they're all based in cardamom spices. And when I started, I had no idea that people I really can only say the West here, haven't had a lot of exposure to cardamom. And they'll ask me, what is it? And I tell them it's in chai. They might have tasted it in chai. They might have tasted it in ras malai and rice pudding at an Indian restaurant. You have to kind of walk them through a spiral of places that they might have encountered it. Sometimes Swedish cookies, Christmas cookies, they've experienced it. But really, for a spice that is central to the food of a lot of the world, we're pretty inexperienced with it here.
That's really interesting. Something that you said, though, that caught my eye was you were talking about farm to table. So you've got the spice component, but also quality of product. Is that something that was important to you when you got started? It sounds like it.
Yeah, it's central to the company. Another thing I learned was that when you start looking on the back of bottles of bitters or any kind of cocktail mixer, and actually quite a lot of foods, you'll see natural flavors. And it will say it's a natural product, but when you start digging in a little bit, you see natural flavorings. And these are really chemical processes for the most part. Even natural vanilla flavor is still vanilla flavor. So what I do is I use raw spices, and they're actually, the spices in my hand, and they're not ground, they're not processed in any way. I go shopping at Arab and Indian markets all over the East Bay and down in LA, and really kind of wherever I get a hot tip that there's a good cardamom, and I walk out with 50-pound bags, and they just are rolling their eyes and have no idea what I'm
going to Whole Foods.
It's great. For me, it's like a way I can travel around the world without really having to go so far, which I love to do, but sometimes I can't. So it's all whole spices. We use saffron and cardamom, and these spices you can hold in your hands, and then slow mix them, and it's all organic syrup and super pure water, and the bottles are all recycled glass and 40% recycled glass, and so the quality from the ingredients, the bottling, the labeling, the working with my community, it's all kind of, as I try to keep the integrity as high as possible and still keep the price point affordable, which is a trick, but
the balance there, right? Well, how did you decide to turn this into a business, though? It seems like you've got a lot of passion for the spices and for making these quality of products, but why did you decide to make this your business?
Two things, I guess. One is that I was really ready to move on from my first career, and I really wanted it to be, I loved what I did before, but I was ready for something really different. And so I thought a lot about what I wanted that to be and the factors that would go into deciding that. And one of the things is that I need to love every aspect of what I do. and I need to do a lot of different things because I'm kind of a hyperactive personality. And I can't sit and do one thing all day. And I know that about myself. And I like to do things on my own, and I like to interact also with people. So those kinds of thoughts about on the practical level of what kind of business do I really envision for myself. And the second part was that people enjoyed it, and I enjoyed making them for people. And I had bottles all over my kitchen of different things sitting in sugars and vinegars and shrubs and elixirs and all kinds of bottles. And people stopped by and asked me to make them and encouraged me to do something with it. So eventually I did.
Sounds like you probably had a lot of fun in product development.
Yeah, R&D is pretty fun in my business.
Oops, another mistake. Another mistake. Call Romney.
Another bottle of gin.
I'm trying some new flavors out now. We'll be having some R&D soon.
Yeah.
Nice.
But actually turning that into a business. So you, when I saw you speak at Event Santa Cruz, you mentioned you didn't know anything about barcodes and use-by dates and those things. How did you learn that, or what made you decide, okay, this is a business and I'm going to start this? What was that learning curve like?
It's really fun. I love it. And I love being new at something and just the challenge of having to figure all the parts out. I love it. And that was part of my decision of doing something totally new. So I knew that I was getting into a big challenge. I have to say that one of the things that got me to take it to that next level, barcodes and putting the seal around the bottle and all of those, is someone named Thayer, who's over at AJ's Market. Little shout out to Thayer. He saw my product and was blown away and so supportive from the beginning. And he was the one who said, look, you've got something here and you should really get serious. And here's what you need to do. You need a barcode, you need a use by date, you need to seal it so it has shelf life and it's, protected on the shelf. And he just encouraged me to take it seriously and that he thought I had a good product that could actually go somewhere.
So it sounds like that was the leap from bottles in your kitchen to bottles on a shelf somewhere?
Yeah, before that was a step of commercial kitchen. Oh, actually, that's a good point. There's the law, there was a new law that came out at the beginning of last January, I think, 2013, I believe. It was 2014. And it was the craft kitchen law. I'm trying to think what it was called, but cottage industry.
Yeah, that's it. I've heard of that.
Yeah, and I was aware of that, and I was working on my product before that law came into effect. But I knew that it was, and my goal was to be ready to sell by the time that law came into effect. But what ended up happening is by the time that law did come, I had outgrown the kitchen, and my own kitchen, and I'd outgrown my own kitchen, and I had moved into the Front Street kitchen. So I needed a commercial space anyway. So that law allowed people to make things at home and actually sell them. But by the time I was selling, I had outgrown the kitchen.
You were already there. You needed to be commercial.
I needed a bigger space.
Really impressive that you had grown that level before you even got there.
It was scary, but it was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in that, we're going to get more into the challenges later. But you started to mention some of those challenges. Getting into that business. Is there anything in particular that stands out as that point where you knew all of a sudden, this is it, I'm here, I'm in business, and this is what I'm supposed to do?
I don't know. It happened slowly. I think the thing that really clinched it for me, because every little step along the way you think, oh, this is good, but I wonder what it's going to do. And I still feel that way. It's going. It seems like it's going, so I guess we keep going. And there are definitely moments where I think, what am I doing? This is not a business. This is
the life of an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah. It's so scary. And you just think, really, how much more time and energy do I have to invest? Or something comes up in my family that needs my attention, and I can't give it what I know I need to give it. And those times are so scary. And then something happens, like I think I mentioned it the other night, at the next event, where a woman came up to me. I was pouring in downtown Santa Cruz for the wine growers, Santa Cruz wine growers event. The streets were closed and everyone was pouring wine, and I had a Cardamom Tuesday booth and was pouring, and a woman came up and was like thrilled to meet me. And she had these parties with the elixir and everyone loved them, and she had come looking for me and wanted to meet me. And for me, that was, I couldn't believe it. Like, really? You've heard of Cardamom? Really?
You've got groupies.
Yeah, you have fans.
That's pretty cool. You've got fans. You've got groupies.
It's fun.
Can I jump in real fast?
Yeah.
I want to know, what is the day in the life of Naomi? As entrepreneurs, we have these crazy schedules. Some of us work 24/7. At 2 a.m, we're looking at our phone. What's the day in life of Naomi?
Well, I'd have to start by saying that I have a teenage daughter. So
that takes up 80% of your time?
It takes up a lot. And you never know when it's going to take up a lot and when they don't want to see you at all. So
you take what you can get?
Yeah. And when I do, I want to be there. And when, and so part of actually, and I found this talking with a lot of women entrepreneurs, that part of why we do what we do is so that we can be there for our families.
Yeah.
And so that we can be in charge and in control of our own schedule to the degree that we can. So I'm aware that I could do a lot more if I had the time to do it. And when I do have the time and she's off and doing well and I can really focus and things are going well at home, then I can give it 250%. And sometimes I really can't give it what it needs. And I have to sit there and step back and just know that, hopefully it will stay afloat and ride for a little while I take care of something else I have to do. And so far it's survived those little valleys, and I'm grateful.
Good. What about, and I stepped out for a second, so I hope this wasn't covered by Ashley, but your previous life, career life, you were a yoga instructor? Mm-hmm. Is that true?
For almost 20 years.
Yeah. So why, I'm trying to figure out what got you into yoga originally? I mean, because it's 20 years, that's a big chunk of your life. Why give that up at the same time?
Well, before yoga, I was an anthropology major at KSCO. And my real passion was for healing through the body in different cultures. So I've loved world culture since I was a little kid. And my family traveled a lot. I had an uncle who was an artist for the archaeology department in the 1930s.
Wow.
And so we had pictures of Iraq and the Middle East, his drawings that I grew up with and stories. So I was always interested in sort of the world and different cultures. So yoga was actually an offshoot of that. I studied dance for years and ended up here with Tandy Beal's company. And anyway, I ended up doing the yoga part of it because I really liked the internal practice more than the performance part of it. So that's kind of how that started. And then I went to India and traveled around the world, and people had me teaching yoga in strange places. And so I got exposed to a lot of the food and the cultures of the world during that time.
Great. So is your next product Twinkie in a glass?
No.
you said that. I was like, I've never heard that. Is that a normal term? God, that is awesome. I want to name the show that. Twinkie in a glass.
That's what you don't want, though.
Oh, really? Oh, that sounded
That's
good.
The official one with the corn syrup.
Oh, my kids would love that. Okay, well, I guess we'll stop at that point since we have a commercial break. So next we're going to find out about the challenges. Stay tuned. We'll see you in 2 minutes.
Wow, I'm standing outside the Staff of Life Natural Food Store watching shoppers buzz in and out like bees at their hive on a hot summer day. I'm wondering, what do all those shoppers find at Staff of Life they can't find at the big box store? Let's ask.
Tom, I've been shopping at Staff of Life since they first opened. It's always good prices, good selection. You always see people like you.
Hi, my name's Kalila. They're wonderful people, and I like to give my business to the people in my community. They have a good meat department. They have a great produce department. I mean, you can't find anything like this. It's for me that it's very satisfying to shop here.
Sharon, Santa Cruz. Staff of Life has the best food. I get fresh everything I need. They have a lot of things I can't find anywhere else.
Think local first and eat local first by shopping a genuine Santa Cruz tradition. The original, locally owned Staff of Life Natural Food Store at 1266 SoCal Avenue in Santa Cruz. If you can't find it at Staff of Life, maybe you don't want to find it.
If your online experience is like this, and you'd like it to be much more like this, then call Jabico on 454-0850. The team at Jabico has spent the last 13 years transforming web experiences that feel like this to this. So if dealing with the web can sometimes feel like this,
the latter consisted simply of 6 hydrophobic
then call us at 454-0850 or check us out online at jabico.com, jabico.com.
From apples to zebras? Well, you can buy anything online except peace of mind and professional, caring advice. Hello, I'm Matthew King of King Insurance and Financial. Our family-owned agency is celebrating its 50th anniversary, providing Santa Cruz County businesses and residents with valuable advice. King Insurance is proud of being recognized as experts on the Affordable Care Act, better known as Obamacare, as well as on the insurance products you need to protect your business, home and auto, and on the life insurance and financial services you need to protect your family's future. Celebrating our 50th anniversary with you is an important milestone for us. Whether guiding a devastated client through the loss of a home fire or advising everyone through the confusing and unsettling new healthcare laws, we're always proud to be here for you. Yes, you can buy just about anything on the internet, but if you want peace of mind and professional, caring advice, call on King Insurance and Financial, a proud member of Think Local First, 688-1434, or visit us online at santacruzinsurance.com.
The first thing they look at is your shoes. Hi, I'm Ellen Gill.
And if they see you in shoes and socks from Sock Shop and Shoe Company, they'll likely look up to you. Hello, I'm Eric Gill.
Sock Shop and Shoe Company has proudly outfitted Santa Cruz County in the best footwear for more than 25 years.
And with your support, we've turned our little Sock Shop and Shoe Company into a one-of-a-kind shoe store that attracts shoppers worldwide.
As the quintessentially locally owned Santa Cruz store, Sock Shop and Shoe Company proudly supports the efforts of Think Local First to promote the locally owned and independent businesses that make our community a special place to live and work.
And we hope you keep in mind all the local entrepreneurs who provide us with such wonderful variety of places to eat, work, and live, and who build a strong local economy for all of us. When you head out to shop, please remember to
Think local first. People will look up to you.
Welcome back to the Think Local First radio show. Before we say one more word, we want to thank our awesome, supportive sponsors. This show could not happen without you. This show is brought to you by King Insurance and Financial. For all of your insurance needs, why are you going to the internet just clicking a couple buttons that you don't understand? Why don't you have somebody to help you walk you through the process? We also have Staff of Life, the local natural food store. Also, Sock Shop and Shoe Company, who has they've been supporting us from the very beginning. They're at 1515 Pacific Avenue, just like the name says. Sock Shop and Shoe Shop. I'm saying that wrong. They actually have shoes, and they're pretty awesome. And then lastly, Jabico. If you want an awesome website, if you want an awesome app, some great software, make sure to go to Jabico Enterprises. They've been actually technical gurus for about 15 years in Santa Cruz. So if you need something done right, go to Jabico. Okay, so we talked about how great life is as an entrepreneur, all the great things they did, how Romney has done over 15,000 projects, and we have Naomi's bottles that are going off the shelves. Everybody's buying them. Everybody's happy. We know there's challenges. We know it's not easy being an entrepreneur. So I want to ask both of you, and I'm going to kind of open it right now to see who answers first. But what keeps you up at 2? I think there's a face-off here. What keeps you awake at 2 in the morning, or what wakes you up at 2 in the morning, thinking like, I'm stressed about ABC?
And if you say nothing, I will not believe it.
Yeah.
So many things.
And you can't say a PC answer. Yeah.
No, I'll just say the simplest thing is probably for all small businesses is your small business. It's the good thing about it, and it's the bad thing about it. So what's good about it is when you're rolling, you're busy, and when I'm actually working on a project, that's a very special time because I have to spend a lot of time in sales and acquisitions, R&D.
Yeah.
Watch out for the next tech app that makes you obsolete. Those are things you worry about at night. But when you're actually functioning, and in your waking hours working with people, it's a people business. I'm happy. I'm really happy with my day, and I like the hours, and I like to be in charge of it. But
Ashley, don't I think we're getting a little bit too PC here?
I'm starting to sense something here.
We're getting a politician.
I think it's the fact that I like it so much, and I feel like it's underperforming. I always think that if this is so good and people are so happy that I've done this, why can't I kind of have an easier flow to this? Because we had that at one time. We had that we had a model that was working. We were sort of a novelty, if you will, for a while. And I'm thinking, that was nice. Can you get back to that? Or has everything just changed again? There's so many different ways that they've carved up the pie technologically. So that's why I'm always looking for kind of applying it to other ways of getting a video out. But I think that's what I spend my time grappling with. When I'm actually working on a project, it's fairly simple. It's a service industry and it's advertising. But I worry a lot about just the business, future. What is the shelf life of the kind of business I have? I'm not sure. It's sure changed a lot from what I used to do, and it's still only 12 years old. But that also is a lifetime in technology.
As I say, in the way that technology's changed in the last 12 years, it's got to be one of those things for you, is just staying on top of not only what's happening right now, but how do you stay on top of what's next?
Yeah, so I think that's what you worry about. It is a little vague, sorry, but I mean that's it's sort of that, whatever, the elephant in the room, if you will.
Well, I think for both of you, so you're creative people. I mean, you're a video person. You make these elixirs. Were you originally a business person? I mean, that's where you have to manage in a way.
The business is what I find really, really the part that keeps me awake at night. I think the actual making of the elixirs that's
the fun part, isn't it?
It's such a pleasure in the kitchen, and the kitchen can be a wild place, but it's
sampling of the elixirs.
That's all really fun. For me, the challenge actually has been getting into the stores and getting the product on the shelves and then maintaining it once the stores have it. So
how do you do that?
It's challenging. It's hard as a small food business because you're not in the distribution catalogs yet. So when the stores are looking to reorder, they pick up the catalog, they go through and they decide what to reorder. If you're a small local business, you're just a product sitting on the shelf. And so you see it dwindling. They haven't called. You can call them and sit on hold because, of course, the market buyers are really busy running around the grocery store all day. And, you see new products coming in and they're starting to move into your shelf space and you're thinking, and sometimes they let it run out, and sometimes they're just so busy and they're thrilled that you call. And every store has a different procedure. Some stores want you to go in and just put the product on the shelf for them, which is great. They're happy to reorder. When you're done, you just send an invoice, and for me that's always great. Shoppers Corner, by the way. They're wonderful that way. And some places really just have a lot of pieces, and it's hard to figure out what your place is in all of that. So it's challenging, and it's different for every store.
What do you feel the percentage of your work life is doing the business of calling the stores, trying to get in there? What is it, a big percentage, or you feel like most of it is actually just making the product?
I don't know, maybe 30%.
Okay.
I mean, I would say the percentage of my late nights to my 2 a.m., what do I think about in the middle of the night, is probably around 70% of that. Yeah. That's the sort of part I don't quite know how to fix yet, but it's a learning curve.
Now,
how do you get a distributor? How do you...
You've had to figure your way through that on your
own? Yeah. And a lot of it comes from talking with other local entrepreneurs, and everybody's been so generous at just helping. That community of food entrepreneurs in Santa Cruz is amazing. People have been so generous. Everybody, that I've interacted with is really open to sharing their connections, their ideas. Talk to this person, you should really speak with that person. And that's how a lot of at least in the food world in Santa Cruz, that's how a lot of things are getting done.
So do you remember one of your first clients? Do you remember first ones they actually purchased? Yeah, I want to buy that.
It wasn't in Santa Cruz. The first person to buy my elixirs was Nangi Gafarshad. He's an Afghani in Southern California in the town.
Wow, you really do remember.
Well, I worked for him when I was really young in his Afghan restaurant, and that's really the first place I had cardamom, and I had chai, and I had those flavors. So when I had my product, I brought it to him, and I said, "Look, this is what I'm doing now, and I just wanted you to know." And he bought bottles for me for the restaurant. So I remember because I thought, okay, if it's good enough for here, then I think I
could do it. Yeah. How about you, Romney? Do you remember a couple of your first customers?
Oh yeah, and I remember, like I say, when I had a TV show on I left the anchor desk, and 3 weeks later had a half-hour TV show on the channel. And,
that was planned out beforehand, right?
Right.
Okay.
As soon as we were hired, and as soon as it was a go, it was a go. Okay. And we had to go on a Friday, and we were shooting on a Sunday morning, and we had that all turned around in a couple of weeks. And pretty soon, everyone just figured that the TV station was doing this new show. And it took, I think, a year. Some people think I still am at the station, but it was that quickly.
Yeah.
So suddenly, but then I remember, for instance, when the Shoppers Corner and the Beauregard family have done all the boat, the store, the winery. They've been great. So pretty soon you're in with these folks that say, hey, we're local. We trust you. We'd love to do this. We support you. They're still with me. So you do things like that, and you remember, you never forget that, and some of the wineries. And so what I've done is I've taken some of those great relationships, and I've said, how can I expand this while being small and do it myself. And that's why we're doing the new food show. And for instance, you mentioned what a great, what kind of client would be great. Well, she's sitting right here. She has a phenomenal story. It's food and food drink related. That's our new project. It's exactly what we're doing. It's under our brand, and it's like, edible magazine only.
And
video and TV.
you brought your contracts, right?
You're right, exactly. Yeah. But I'm just saying this. But how good is my point is not to of course sell you in real time.
Always selling.
However, my point is, how much better would my show be with her story in it?
Oh yeah.
Then now, how many more viewers would watch that, and how high would the value be on that enterprise?
There's a reason why I have her on.
This is why this is the direction we're going, because we live in this kind of place that has stories growing like apples on trees.
So then what's next? Yeah.
So what's next? Yeah. So what's next is our company is my partner. It has the new in-room hotel channel, the Santa Cruz Visitor Channel. That's another way to talk to visitors. Different visitors in every day. We're in 5,000 rooms in a couple of counties. That's one opportunity. It's on the web. It's in there. And then our new program is 100 Mile Meals, 100milemeals.com.
Tell us about that.
If you want to check that out.
Tell us about that show.
First episode. And that is, it's all things tasty, fun, fresh, local. And so we have a couple of features. We work with the aquarium, Cooking for Solutions. We did the edible garden tour in Santa Cruz. There ideas, concepts, the history of the CCOF right here in town. We've done those, and yet we have sponsors. Bernardo's Winery is a sponsor. Performance Ledyard's our corporate sponsor, and they cover everything from Santa Cruz to Big Sur, and delivered to all these. But a chef has a story. They're a personality. None of us tire of sort of the food channel, but we just localize it. We make it ours, and that of course is marketing for those restaurants or vendors or growers to use. So we make their marketing, but we make a show out of it. That's my shtick,
So what do you see yourself? I mean, have you thought this far? 5?
No.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I know. Yeah, you have to. Yeah, 5-10 years. What's Romney doing?
I think I'm trying to do this. I think I've got something in what I liked about the in-room hotel play was someone else's capital. My partner needed me. He's out of Tahoe and wanted to expand, and he had the servers and the apparatus in the back end, and he needed me. And so we make a good partnership. So it's a new growth opportunity for me to work with tourism and promoting tourism, and also vendors, people with shops and things like that. And then with the food template, it's not, Travels with Romney, it's 100 Mile Meals. That concept, that diet, the 100 mile concept, or maybe it's 100 feet, is universal. So I think that has potential. Maybe it's a template. Maybe it's something you can do a 100 mile meal from anywhere, right? So maybe onto something that's more conceptual than just Dunbar Productions.
Well, I think like you were talking about before, it's like, you're always looking ahead for what's the new technology, what's coming up next. But when it comes down to it, I think you're a storyteller. And that's what people need. People need the talent. They need a storyteller.
Ash was just saying, what is it you really do? Well, let's just melt it down. We're a business storytelling company. I was an old reporter, journalist, and all we're doing is we're telling the story, or someone in my company. I'm trying to kind of take the old guy out of it. But that's what we try to do. We try to tell your story and then grow that value through all these social networking channels, real eyeballs, all kind. What will they think of next? Some apps that we have. I know Matthew's an app man, but we have an app that talks to your device from the TV in the room, right? If you want it to, you can. So there are a lot of ways that you sort of chase people around to get their attention, because we're all busy. But that's the future of what I do. What's the value of the content? Where does it go? Who sees it? Then you work backwards. Okay, what do you want to tell them?
Exactly.
And we do that.
And you're good at that.
So, yeah.
How about you, Naomi? What's next for Naomi?
The next project, we have a couple flavors coming out, but I also am focused on trying to get the product into stores and also into bars.
Okay.
So there's recipes that go with all the elixirs, and actually the original intention, what the plan was that it would be in local bars where they would be making craft cocktails. And I was really surprised that the company didn't go that way, that the interest was with the grocery stores, which was great for me because they buy by the case. And so that was great, and it's really good visibility to be in local stores. But I thought it would be the bars that picked it up and would make local drinks. So there's like a Santa Cruz mule that you make with the cardamom elixir, and there's a Silk Road cocktail that you make with the Silk Road elixir. And so I'd really like to see it getting some availability in the local bars. So you could go in and actually order a Santa Cruz mule at one of the Santa Cruz bars, and people come to town and they get the taste of Santa Cruz, and then they can bring it with them wherever they go when they leave.
So I have a question.
Here.
Right now, if I were to want Silk Road elixir, where do I buy it?
Yeah,
where
where
can
would you
I
go?
find you?
Besides you giving us these nice free ones here.
I'm taking one home with me, but aside from that.
Well, the first event that's coming up after this, like Matthew said, there's the event that's coming up at Assembly. There's a pop-up market as part of the next event. And then I'll be at the Carmel Plaza
that's
on
soon.
the 15th of November. They're doing a big holiday fair, and they've invited 4 artisan food people from the whole Monterey Bay, so they've asked me to come. And that should be a really nice event. It's the whole plaza. It's, where Anthropology and Tiffany's and lots of beautiful stores are. So.
And what's your website that they could find out more information about you?
That's cardamomtuesday.com. Cardamom. People don't know how to spell cardamom sometimes, but
they will.
They do now.
They will.
Yeah, exactly.
And also Shoppers has been great. AJ's Market is great. We're on the shelves at New Leaf, all over in Santa Cruz, and I think still San Jose, Half Moon Bay. So
See, it's a challenge, but you've done pretty well.
Yeah, slowly. Slowly.
How old are you as a company, Naomi?
2.5 years.
2.5 years. Okay.
Yeah. We sort of started 2.5 years ago. We were incorporated about 2 years ago. So each little step. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm going to have to interrupt you guys, though. That is our show for today. We can talk another 2 more hours and be totally fine.
Pop that elixir.
Yeah.
Sign off.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you.
Cocktails now.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us. And we want to thank our engineer. It's actually Aaron Shore for keeping us going. We want to thank Darren Odden for our awesome video person. Thank you very much. And that's it. Come back next week. Same time, same bat channel, 2 o'clock on KSCO. Thank you very much. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, Matt.
Think local.
Thanks, guys.